Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another broadcast of The Weekly with me, Neff. Please subscribe to the channel and share with a friend. It helps us out a lot, and we're trying to get to 100 subscribers. Thank you very much. So this article today is from Variety, and it reads, Skyfall director Sam Mendes says James Bond studio prefers filmmakers who are more controllable. I doubt I'd return. All right, so let's read a little more into this article. Sam Mendes directed 2 James Bond movies, Skyfall in 2012 and Spectre in 2015, which, by the way, are 2 good movies, although I do think Spectre is better than Skyfall, and he doubts he'll return to the 007 franchise to helm a 3rd entry. Speaking to Inverse to promote his new HBO series, The Franchise, Mendes said, the studio often needs a director who is younger and thus more controllable. That's no longer him. Never say never, to quote the man, but I would doubt it, Mendes said about directing a 3rd Bond movie. It was very good for me at the moment in my life. I felt like it shot me out of some old habits. It made me think on a bigger scale. It made me use different parts of my brain. You have to have a lot of energy. They want slightly more malleable people who are earlier in their career, who perhaps are going to use it as a stepping stone, and who are more controllable by the studio. He added about the next Bond director. Mendes' Skyfall remains one of the most acclaimed Bond movies. The movie grossed $1.1 billion at the worldwide box office to become the highest-grossing 007 film of all time. It also picked up 5 Oscar nominations and won for Best Original Song. His follow-up Bond movie, Spectre, was more critically divisive, but again won the Oscar for Best Original Song. Spectre earned $880 million worldwide. Since Mendes' exit from the Bond franchise, there has only been one more 007 movie, 2021's No Time to Die. That film marked the end of Daniel Craig's tenure as Bond. Now the search is on for a new actor to play 007 and a new director to take over the franchise. No filmmaker has been officially announced yet. So yeah, overall, not surprised with this as well. I'm going to actually look into if there's been a director that's actually worked on more than 2 James Bond films. I want to see what the longest run is, but for him to do 2 James Bond films and then walk away, I think he's done what he needs to do. Obviously, he has the highest grossing James Bond film of all time under his belt, so that's a big accomplishment just for him as a filmmaker. And then even with Spectre, $880 million at the box office, not too shabby. I really do like Spectre a lot, and No Time to Die is actually pretty good as well. But overall, James Bond is still sitting in a very good position as far as franchises goes. James Bond has been around for probably 4 or 5 decades. Amazing franchise. It still holds up, has great quality. James Bond is one of those films that you know what you're getting when you walk into it. So on one end, I can understand why the people that own the franchise, especially the family that owns the James Bond franchise and the executives around it, why they do act a certain way. They want to upkeep that quality in film. But then again, I can see how that could be an issue for someone that is experienced in the filmmaking world and they want to do what they want to do from a creative standpoint. So I see from both ways, both angles, why that would be a problem overall. But, you know, when you look at the box office turnout, they've done well. So whether or not there are some disagreements on the set or the boardroom, the films have done well, so it has seemed to work out for James Bond as a franchise. Very interested to know what direction they're going to be going in next. I want to know who's going to be playing the new James Bond and which director they will be scooping up. I have a couple ideas. I think Chris Nolan would be a pretty good idea for a James Bond film. I would definitely like to see a Chris Nolan-led James Bond. That'd be great, especially with his touch that he has on film. So with that being said, guys, that wraps up the information in this article. Please comment down below. Are you excited for another 007 James Bond film in the future? Who do you think could play James Bond and who do you think should direct? Want to know all that in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and share with a friend. It is Neff signing off.